Wednesday shit.
What is going on? There is a lot of wrestling that took place last night, the Tuesday Night Wars. Me and James are here to talk about it, man. I hope you guys enjoyed last night's night of wrestling and all the shenanigans that took place on Twitter today. It was a lot. It was a lot to take in.
Yes, it was.
But we're going to get it, man. Let's dive into it. Wrestling Shout! All right, man. I am Jesse. Joined with me as always, James. Welcome to the Pro Wrestling Shoot. It's been a crazy couple of hours on Twitter, and last night after NXT and Dynamite, it was even more crazy. So, James, what were your thoughts on the night, dude? What were your thoughts on NXT and AEW?
Well, when this was brought up, the first thing that came up, of course, on the internet was get ready for WrestleMania 17 for both shows.
Bro,
the
war
sure as
was
hell
real.
didn't get that. Yeah.
The war was real. Listen, I've been saying that, look, give me a reason to watch. And I think the Twitter exchange between Tony Khan and the fans were just enough to get me to tune in to both shows, because also Shawn Michaels was tweeting out, we're going to see some exciting things in the world of pro wrestling. We're going to dive into it, man. But first of all, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or Spotify, do me and James a huge favor. Give us that 5-star review if you think that we've earned it. Write that friendly review. Get us up there in the algorithm. Share this podcast around. And if you're watching on YouTube, give us a subscribe if you think we've earned it. Twitch, same thing. Guys, follow us everywhere on social media at The Pro Wrestling Shoot, including our TikTok. If you like video games, TikTok is definitely a place to be. If you like short content, we are dropping video game content on the daily over there, as well as over here on YouTube. So go and check out our short content over there on YouTube. We're dropping another video this Friday, by the way. I normally only do about one video game video a week. I'm dropping 2 for you guys this week because I actually had time. Last week was a super busy schedule. I went to Wrestle Dream and everything. Obviously, wasn't able to drop as much content as possible. We're obviously streaming today on a Wednesday, so normally everybody's used to listening to us on a Tuesday. That is not the case today, man. We didn't even have this scheduled. I didn't even have time to schedule this stream until about 30 minutes before we went live. So, I mean, times are busy, man. Times are busy.
We did the Vince McMahon last-minute script.
Yeah. We're running 10 over, brother. We're running 10 over.
No, tear it up. I want to do it over.
Shout out a couple people in the chat, man. Hudson, he says, can't wait. Thanks for joining us, Hudson, as always. And Jason, man, it's good to see you. He said, hey, good to see you guys. These guys are huge supporters of the video game content over there. Go and give them a subscribe, too, both on their YouTube channels. I'm not sure what they got going on over there, but go and give them some subscribe and like some of their content if they're producing any. Hudson, huge supporter of the podcast side of things. I do occasionally see him on the video game side of things, but Hudson has been here since day one, brother. Day one over here for the podcast. So, man, look, there's a lot of things going on in pro wrestling, obviously. The ratings are in, man. The ratings are in. NXT beat AEW. We'll just jump to the chase, man. NXT got 921,000 in the ratings. And then AEW got 609, I do believe, 609.
Somewhere around that number, yeah.
Which, here, let me pop it up. I actually have it right here on my phone. Yeah, 609,000. Crazy, dude. Crazy. So look, everybody, if you expected AEW to win this after, WWE sicked the Avengers on them. It's not going to happen. Like, I don't know what it is about people getting enamored about still seeing The Undertaker in 2023, but people are all for it, man. I'm not one of those guys. I was more excited to see what Tony Khan put on over on AEW because I felt like NXT delivered the same thing that we see on a weekly basis. At least that's what was advertised. And then when I tuned into AEW, I felt the same way about AEW. I don't know how you felt, James, but it felt like a normal Dynamite to me. It didn't feel big. There was nothing about it that felt out of the ordinary.
Yeah, just with NXT just having a couple addition of main roster people. You had John Cena, you had LA Knight, you had Paul Heyman, you had Asuka. I'm surprised Becky Lynch, or I think Becky Lynch was on there. I can't recall. And then you had AEW. Just you had some cool matches on there. You had Swerve and Bryan. You had 2 title matches. I mean, not Title Tuesday. What a joke that was. Hell, they even had a specialty match on NXT. Had a pub rules match. Balls to the wall, and like announced, I don't know, a lights out match or a cage match, just something out of the ordinary. The man always gives free matches on MTV. The one time he doesn't do something extremely crazy, or I'm surprised he didn't just be crazy and call like some celebrity to come to the ring, or I don't know. He's done some crazy stuff in the past. I thought I've expected more. I mean, Edge ain't going to pull in all your ratings. Yeah, it's a cool thing seeing his first debut match in AEW. But
here's the thing with Edge too, man. Like, I actually did believe that Edge was going to be this game changer. Now, the only reason I felt like that, I didn't think that he was going to be, the long-term game changer, obviously, right? But for the short term, like, he just came into the company. So I was expecting, at least some people to get excited. That was not the case. This event that AEW ran the other day didn't even bust 3,000 tickets. So that's wild to me, man. It's wild that, because look, I'm going to go ahead and give a spoiler. Personally, I didn't enjoy either show. I thought that neither show delivered on what we thought, like, because, when you're hyping up this and, we're going to war on this, Tony Khan's hyping it up. So I felt like these two were going to deliver something special. I just didn't feel that. I mean, if you're watching the NXT stuff, obviously, and you're there to see Cody Rhodes announce the Dusty, as soon as they said Cody Rhodes had an announcement, I was like, it's the Dusty Classic. Immediately.
Yeah, it was obvious.
Immediately. So I was like, it's not that. And look, I'm a Dusty Rhodes fan and a Cody Rhodes fan, but to me, I'm like, it's not that big of an announcement. So they're hyping it up. When they teased The Undertaker, people were really excited. Now, I don't get excited. I haven't gotten excited for The Undertaker since, the Shawn Michaels matches. I would have to say, like, his matches with Shawn Michaels was the last time I truly got excited about seeing The Undertaker. But, John Cena being on NXT. Listen, this is all a big deal too, but I felt like Tony Khan would have fought back just a little bit more, and it's crazy to me. Like, we didn't get Mox because he didn't get cleared, so we got Orange. They gave the title back to Orange,
which is fine. There is a story with it.
To me, it just kind of tells me that Rey Fenix should have never had that title to begin with, right? Like, it was all an accident.
It was just, it was just, hey, we had to do an audible, and he had to win, and then they were hoping that Mox was going to be good, and here's the thing: they figured call Orange, which I'm fine with it. I don't have an issue with it. You still can package a story with it, which is with Mox. So.
Man, so when I was looking at this, I figured Tony Khan would have thrown everything at the board, right? Like, we're going to have a Kansas City tornado death match. We're going to, you know what I mean? We're going to do ladder matches. They called it Title Tuesday. We got the women's title and we got the TNT title. Sorry, not the TNT title, the international title. So 2 titles on the line. And we joked earlier. By the way, guys, the real podcast that you guys wanted to listen to was earlier in our private chat with Everything Pro Wrestling. Chris Williams of the Pro Wrestling Shoot, James and myself. We had the most amazing discussion about just the state of pro wrestling. I was so mad at the end of this discussion that I was like, dude, this should have been a podcast. This was so good.
There was some heat, I'll tell you that. There was
It-
some angry voices in there.
But it was not like
It was
it
just a
wasn't
big debate, really.
it was a good
just,
debate though.
you know,
Everybody was throwing points, everybody was getting their points made, and a lot of opinions were changing as the points were made. So it was such a good discussion, and I wish that we could have put this live for you guys today. Man, that was the real podcast. So now we're re-talking about everything that is going on. You know, I just don't feel like, listen, the match between Swerve and Danielson obviously delivered. That I liked a few matches on NXT too. I'm not saying that the shows were terrible, but when I'm hyped up, like you said earlier, James, welcome to NXT WrestleMania, right? Like I'm thinking, dude, Shawn Michaels tweeting that what you're gonna see on NXT is something that we have never seen before. Like, you know what I mean? They're hyping this up. Tony Khan saying
it was the WWE route, if you will. It's just like the
of course.
CM Punk stuff. Like, oh yeah, it's not for him. Like,
of course, yeah.
we brought it up in our chat. Like, that's what WWE does. Yeah, we'll tease you all this, but we're not bringing it all the way. You're not getting everything free just because over there in Missouri they're having a show.
I got that. Yeah.
I mean,
but you would think that AEW would have delivered something crazy, right? Like all we got was Edge's. Listen, you put Edge in a main event with the stupid dinosaur that they have over there. I'm gonna go on and say it. This dude does not. He doesn't draw a dime. Like why they put him in a main event?
He really doesn't draw a dime. Like at the start, he was a cool wrestler. It was different. Minute you turn heel, you still kept the mask and the whole character and just made him dark, and it's weak. It's like an embarrassment to Kane.
It's crazy that you have on one hand Braun Breaker and Carmelo Hayes in a main event on NXT with Paul Heyman and John Cena in their corners, right? That's the, WWE selling point. To me, I'm like, if whatever, But then Tony's counter offer is Luchasaurus and Edge in the main event. Like, come on,
yeah,
man.
I think it's a nostalgia thing. Like when watching NXT, seeing like, oh hey, this guy's on NXT, Cody Rhodes. I mean, he hasn't been on NXT in a good while. Cena hasn't been on NXT in a good while, so I get the nostalgia.
Yeah,
I don't watch NXT option. I don't watch NXT often. I'll check the highlights here and there so I can get some coverage. Like, oh,
we're live during NXT.
Yeah.
That tells
don't
you
get me wrong. I
watch
check
NXT
it out.
that much.
No,
Yeah.
I don't watch it as much, but I do hear about it. I go check highlights. If I have the time, I'll go watch it.
If I didn't like AEW, I'd be live during AEW and not really worry about it. But we go live during NXT because I feel like AEW is the better show to watch in general. I just felt like going up against WWE, we would have pulled out a little more stops and make people regret maybe not tuning into AEW. But I didn't see anything to regret not tuning in for. Did you? I mean, people in the chat, everybody in the chat, I want to shout you out here in a minute, but let me know, what show did you guys enjoy better last night? Were you watching both shows? Did you only watch one? Let me know which one you enjoyed, and let me know why. Like, why? Because for me, I felt like last week was one of the best Dynamites that I've seen in a long time. And then they went from last week to this week, and now we got Tony Khan tweeting, this was one of the best shows they've ever done. And I'm sorry, it wasn't. It was not the best show that they've ever done. I'm tired of Cage Match, Dave Meltzer, Brian Alvarez, and some of the hardcore, AEW guys that will defend them tooth and nail, saying that this was one of the greatest shows. It's just like All Out. Oh, they thought All Out was one of the best pay-per-views that they've done this year, and it's by far like one of the worst pay-per-views I've ever seen AEW do. One of them. I'm not going to say the worst, but it's definitely up there with one of the worst pay-per-views I've seen them do.
Yeah, this is probably the most I've seen Tony on Twitter. Like, they were going back and forth. Shawn Michaels and then we're like, oh, we're going 30 minutes. Yeah, well, we're going 30 minutes and the 10-minute overrun, and then him responding to fans. I'm like, yeah, you need to stay off. You need to stay off Twitter, Tony. Just promote your show, do all that. You don't need to interact with the fans. Don't be a damn keyboard warrior.
Yeah,
like it looks bad for you doing it. That's okay. You could say you have the best show in town. Okay, that's fine. I mean, I would do the same thing. I'm not going to say my show sucks, but you don't need to debate with fans. I mean, he's responding with gifs to people like, oh, I don't care. You can watch whatever. It's crazy. And we're going to be doing this crap, if I'm not mistaken. I brought this up, I think in December. They're going to be on a Tuesday again, I believe.
Okay.
All right. We're going to be doing.
Well, I'll make sure to save this background, sir, because we'll be streaming again on a Wednesday. So let's get to some questions in the chat or some statements in the chat, man. Jason says, looking forward to discussing everything and have a few questions and a few questions I have as well. Shoot him, man. Shoot him. He says, same thing on a weekly basis. This is what I wanted to address. So I think he's talking about just the shows being the same. There was nothing really too crazy about it. Isaiah Hill says, hey, dogs, what's going on, man? Got that dog in him. Matthew Lopez says, good evening, everyone. What's going on, Matthew? Thanks for joining, man. He says, looks like NXT Mania did great last night, as expected. I mean, look, when you sick the Avengers on them, it's like that. I don't know. It's crazy. Jason says, I have been a WWE fan for years. Therefore, I'm used to creative storytelling, great storylines, memorable promos, and segments. And I feel like for the past few years, WWE's writing team has been lackluster. I feel the same way, but at the same time, they're doing a lot of good things because they're selling out arenas. Like, look, their business is booming right now. It is probably the most packed that I've seen it in years. So, I mean, I just can't explain it fully, but it is what it is. Prince Rockstar says, who cares about ratings? Both shows win. Wrestling won. Both shows sucked last night. That's my opinion. Like,
I mean, you had, 1.5 million, I think, people watching wrestling, which SmackDown outgrows that in general.
Yeah.
It's not a lot.
It's really not. 600,000 in ratings. I mean, look, I'm an AEW fan too, but the only people that don't want to talk about ratings are people that only defend AEW, right? Because they're like, oh, who cares? 600,000, 300,000 on Collision,
don't get me wrong,
200,000 on Rampage.
Mm-hmm. Don't get me wrong.
Deal.
There's a base that will watch it just for wrestling, which trust me, I wish I can be like that, but we live in the era of social media, sadly. So it's always in the back of our mind. And trust me, I don't go on just like you. I don't go on Twitter and looking for all this. Just pops up on my timeline. I'm like, who the hell is, it just might be in my algorithm. Might be something I searched up,
Right.
It is what it is. There was a couple of pointers on this show, on both shows that were good and then just very subpar, but not outstanding. And I know everyone was boosting a cage match. I think they gave NXT an 8.7. I don't know what AEW got.
Oh man, AEW probably got a 9.5, brother. Cage match, ever since Tony Khan put over Cage match, it seems like every one of their ratings is high.
And I haven't heard any numbers come out about the pre-show for AEW, so they're gonna throw that in there. Well, we got this number in there. Okay, no one cares. The damn pre-show.
There was 24K watching on the pre-show, so
I think it was 44, but 44, it's a match we've seen before, so wasn't worthy. I mean, okay, 3 matches. My mistake. It was 3 title matches.
Yeah. Prince Rockstar says WWE creative been lacking the last 10 years. Explain the sellouts, man. Explain the merch deals. Explain that to me.
Speak about the sellouts, and I know people were like, "Oh, well, it's Missouri." I'm like, okay. WWE has gone.
They were just in Seattle. Dude, we're deprived. We didn't.
I can't remember. Arena. Corpus Christi. I think it's Corpus Christi. It has the worst wrestling city, worst wrestling town. They get 10,000 for SmackDown or a Raw.
Yep.
So they're. I don't want to hear the excuse. Yeah, I get it. They've been in the business for so long, but you can tell there's a decline from 2019 to 2023 with AEW.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
Now, with Tony getting
hold on. I don't want to discredit Prince either over here in the chat, because trust me, I watch more AEW, and I've said that openly. I will watch more AEW than I will WWE. The only thing that I get frustrated about is because I feel like AEW strays away from everything that does work for WWE, and I think that that's just a bad move, because if it's working, why try to fix it, right?
Yeah.
Something's obviously not working for AEW. Their crowd, 3,000 people in the audience everywhere you go, that's crazy to me, dude.
Yeah.
We just had a pay-per-view. Seattle hasn't had a pay-per-view since No Way Out 2009. Okay? 2009 we haven't had a pay-per-view. So you would think that everybody in Seattle would be hyped to see AEW. I went. I supported Collision when it was in Seattle and AEW, or Wrestle Dream the next night. But the thing is people didn't come out, man. People didn't come out. But when Raw comes here in a couple months, that place is going to be sold out. So explain it. That's all I'm saying. Explain it. It's crazy to me.
Yeah,
Because, I think some stuff that Raw and SmackDown do are good. But
what Prince elaborated to,
is it to write home to?
The storylines have been lacking, Dudley, but they still keep going and going and going. They don't just throw random matches in there. They still focus with a storyline. Everyone has a storyline, just about. While AEW,
I think that has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, while AEW is, like I have stated from the beginning, oh, we don't have a storyline, but we'll put you two in a match. If it sticks, we'll try some storyline with it, maybe 2 weeks before the pay-per-view, or just throw something in there. And that's not the way to do it. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm just like everyone else. I enjoy wrestling, but you got to give me this soap opera, just like the damn Attitude Era. Like, that was what got a lot of people hooked. The wrestling might have sucked, but the soap opera was very important. I mean, Stone Cold Steve Austin and Vince, DX, all of that.
I just think you have to give people a reason to tune into your pay-per-views. That's all. Like,
you gotta, if you're gonna form a character, you gotta, they can have great wrestling, but if they stink in the mic, what am I going for?
You don't always have to just incorporate
you can give me the both.
Promos.
You can give me both.
Yeah.
I think
agree.
It's possible. We live in a world that you can give me both for pro wrestling and just be on the mic.
And you should have the full package when it comes to being a pro wrestler. Like, it shouldn't just be all about wrestling. Like, wrestling has never always been just about wrestling.
And if you can't talk, okay, get some manager that will do all the talking for you. That will work. So, like, imagine Luchasaurus talking on mic. My ears would be bleeding. So you got Christian in the side, because it works best for him. Same with like Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman. For the longest time, it was Paul Heyman. Roman has came a long way to fix himself with this whole narrative.
Gabe, welcome to the chat. He says, "What's up, guys? No disrespect to Taker, but when he came out, I couldn't help but laugh." Man, Taker just like I'm with you, Gabe. Thanks for joining the chat, by the way.
I wouldn't say laugh. I'm just like, man, he's I know he's a Vince boy. I know he's been for the company many years, loyal to us. I know that's been thrown around in our chat for a good while.
Loyalty.
Yeah. So, I mean, credits to him. He's done a lot for the company. I just, my thinking was, okay, you're the Undertaker, and you give a rat's ass about someone calling themselves a BA on the show, an NXT star that you probably won't have any interaction with for years down the road.
I get it, man.
I get it. It's a one-time thing. So I've already seen the NXT card next week. They're going back to like their regular tuning.
There's a lot of people that saying that, like, oh, well, NXT was being petty for this. Like, check it out, man. You have to also look at it from a perspective as, Tony Khan has clearly said, I understand like WWE has been petty for years, but, I understand it's not Tony Khan's call to go on Tuesdays. That's the network's. But the network did have them go on Tuesdays, and now you're in NXT's time slot. So why would NXT want to take any of their viewers away, right? Like, let's bring down the main roster.
Same with vice versa. If they had to switch from Tuesdays to Wednesdays for a one-night thing for like, I don't know, a dog show or something. Tony, you better bring out all the guns. I don't know how TPS is feeling about this. I haven't seen them post about this. Or Warner Brothers Discovery. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're going to say, well, we have these numbers and this says this,
Yeah. B-Boy Skyline, what's going on, man? It's good to see you. He says AEW had the better show. I watched both. With the first 30 minutes of both shows, I paid more attention to AEW more than NXT. WWE said main roster push to help with the NXT. Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. Like, I feel like I wanted to tune in just to see I knew what Cody's announcement was, but I tuned into both. Look, I watched both. I had one on my phone, one on my TV.
Yep.
And NXT was on my phone, by the way, so they get the smaller screen, which goes to show you which one I am favoring. It's even though I defend WWE, I just like to point out facts. Like, AEW is definitely the product that I'm watching more, but the reason why I get frustrated with numbers or even storylines and things of that nature is because, look, if you don't fix something now, we're not going to have an AEW anymore. And I don't want to live in a world with just WWE again because WWE needs AEW, period. I don't care what all the hardcore WWE fans say. I feel like both companies need each other to thrive. Like
If
nobody
anything,
wants one company
WWE
to win.
has improved from the time being of when I stopped watching it. They have improved. They have done a lot more since, there's more focus than just two people on the show like it was back then. They've been selling out arenas like crazy.
Yeah,
we were
yeah.
remember we were at a point where they were getting crap, like nobody was going to the shows. And then something, I
For
don't know
WWE.
what for
Yep.
WWE, like it was
Yeah,
empty.
yeah.
We were going and we were concerned, like, what is going on?
Yeah.
And then something shifted in the
100%.
water and it went the other way around. Like people are selling out the show.
Mhm.
And speaking of AEW, like I just looked, I think I got it from WrestleTix. Like for some reason, California, or specifically Los Angeles, they're doing damn good. I haven't seen the last time they almost sold out both shows for a what was it? Not Dynamite, but a Collision and almost a pay-per-view. They're almost
That's
sold
good.
out.
That's good.
Which is
man.
rare because I don't recall the last time. I think Collision is like almost at 9K, and
That's
I can't
really
remember.
good, man.
I think Full Gear is like at 9K, which I'm like, wow, it must be
That's
just
more than
California.
WrestleDream did.
Yeah, so I don't know if maybe it's just maybe West Coast is the option. I have no idea what is going on.
Maybe you could be onto something, but if you run West Coast all the time, then you're just going to burn out that market as well. I mean,
And then here
everybody's
comes
not rich.
WWE. Like here's WWE, and I don't know. They're doing a house show at the Forum as well. I think in December.
There you go.
So that's going to be interesting.
Keep me updated on those numbers too at the Forum. But I still want to touch on B-Boy Skyline's comment right here, where he said WWE needed the main roster push to help with NXT. What does that say for AEW though? So look, SmackDown, it's getting a new home. SmackDown's coming up. SmackDown's getting a new home. It may even get a new day because we're not locked into Fridays. We're not locked into any day for SmackDown. If WWE really wanted to be petty, they'd say, "Hey, send Roman Reigns to Wednesdays."
Yeah.
What
Which
is
I don't
AEW
doubt
going to
it.
do then on Dynamite if they're going head to head with SmackDown every night? If they can't handle an NXT brand with only a couple of the main roster people, what are they going to do when Roman Reigns hits the screen? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but look, you got to be realistic. Like, SmackDown is up for a deal and things are happening. So let's get to some more comments, man. Some more people popped up in the chat. Samuel,
and we got that Triple H. I'm sorry to cut you off here. We got the
good.
Triple H announcement. Whatever that is, I don't know.
That's true. That's true. It's Friday, right? Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I joked around like, oh yeah, we're moving to Wednesdays. So I don't know. I doubt that's the option, but you got the USA deal coming up, 3 hours possibly for SmackDown. So I don't think that's gonna be on Fridays. I can't see them having wrestling of 3 hours on USA Network. Who knows? They could switch it up, or they can go old school on Thursdays like they did back then.
I don't think they would go to Thursday. If they had to switch a day, I guarantee they're taking Wednesday. Just because,
And you put AEW on, or AEW NXT on Tuesdays. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, get it all done with.
Yep. Yeah, you can even run back-to-back shows if they're doing business.
And then there you go. Thursday, Friday, you got house shows going on, and then boom, pay-per-view on a Saturday.
Well, if business is booming too, they can take NXT out of that Performance Center style arena, or what is it in the Performance Center? Because it's not in Full Sail. So what is it in now?
Is it? Was it not? I thought it was Full Sail.
No, they're running it in like that the same place that they ran the Thunderdome, I do believe, right?
Whoops.
I think it's the Performance Center.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, so they can take that out of the Performance Center and go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and have it run the Staples Center. Monday Raw or whatever.
I mean, look, I could throw a curveball and they could say, "Hey, yeah, we're gonna do a new show. We're gonna add another show on Wednesdays." We don't know, Raw, SmackDown, NXT. There could be a fourth show.
Oh God, no more wrestling. There's too many shows going on.
They
I don't
can do
want to force.
something like that. I don't know. We never know.
Look, I wouldn't put it past WWE because B-boy or not B-boy. There was some other comments like WWE is petty. They are petty. I see him down here. I'll get to him. Samuel Sneed, welcome to the chat, man. He says AEW for me, WWE. Oh, this is the comment right here. WWE was being petty last night, and it shows 100%. And I watch both companies. No, fact though. I mean, but they still got to defend their day. You know what I mean?
I mean, look, let's put it this way. Yeah, you can say they're petty, but I mean, you don't think if it was the other around, Tony would do the same thing back?
Oh, 100%.
Which I don't blame Sean and them doing it. Yeah, Tony, like I said, he can't be putting stuff on Twitter and calling them, calling Sean and Triple H bald a-holes, and going off on fans, and then NXT, oh, well, we got a new era coming. What, the main roster era? We've already seen this before, and it sunk Triple H. Now you got Sean doing your business for you, and it works. It all Achievement Day to be on there, and that boosted numbers up. So they'll keep doing main roster. All they need is one main roster guy to go under, and it gets everyone booming. It's working for Dominic.
100%, man. Let's get to some more comments. Isaiah Hill says, NXT I enjoy. It's because of John Cena and Roxanne. There you go, man. There you go. So we got some WWE fans and AEW fans both in the house tonight. Jason says high ratings require a talent that can do more than just wrestle in the ring. Can you create a persona, cut a promo, and make it believable? Braun Breaker needs work. WWE should be more than wrestling. WWE is more than wrestling. That is a lot of promos going on there over in WWE. But I think the roles are reversed. I think that Tony Khan should give. I know that fans love watching Dynamite because of the wrestling and because of the dream matches, but eventually you're going to burn those matches out, and you need to give people a reason to watch your pay-per-views to put those matches on. So, I don't know.
I don't mind the dream matches, but don't put them every single time. You know who did that crap? Impact. It didn't work. They're still in business for I don't know how many years. Finding a damn different station every half a year. You can't give me everything free. I appreciate it, but don't leave it for pay-per-view quality.
I think the drama should just be on the TV shows. You know what I mean?
I mean, look, like we mentioned, before this, look what they're doing with Brian Pillman. That's probably the best thing we've seen since he hasn't. What was the most biggest thing he?
Listen, man, I wasn't even excited about Brian Pillman in NXT. I thought that the Brian Pillman vignette that they showed last night was the best thing about the Tuesday Night Wars last night.
When he feuded with
the most entertaining
MJF.
thing to me.
That's probably the best thing I can remember. When he feuded with MJF, it gave me some okay, I'll root for this kid.
Yeah.
And then
I was already rooting for him because I'm a huge Brian Pillman fan. But so I was just rooting for his son to do good in AEW. So when he left AEW, I was kind of bummed. But I mean, hopefully, maybe NXT is good for him. Maybe the Performance Center will teach him the things he needs to know, man.
I wish the best for him. I'm not going to, I'm not like other people oh, yeah, he left our company. I'm going to boo him. No.
Yeah. B-Boy Skyline says, I'm still mad at AEW how they screwed over Buffalo, New York, because we got the all out after the brawl out. That sucks. I remember, so wait a minute. You got the all out after the brawl? You mean you got the Dynamite after the brawl out? That's what you're probably saying.
After the brawl, yeah.
Because all out's never been to Buffalo. But I get what you're saying. You got the Dynamite after the brawl out, and that does suck because everybody was, that was back when everybody was on the same side. Elite and CM Punk fans could be in the same room together. I loved that time. I wish we could go back to that time. That was
instead
AEW
we're throwing blows back in Gorilla.
Yeah, 100%, man. Black Rock, welcome to the chat, Black Rock. I don't think I've ever seen you in here. He says AEW storylines are just boring. The talent in AEW are just not connecting with some of the audience.
Not every single talent, and I could say some of the storylines because WWE used to do this as well. They kind of tend to drag some storylines longer than they should be.
Everything Pro Wrestling says, yo, what's going on, Conrad, man? Thanks for joining us. Brandon McAdroy? What did I pronounce? I probably butchered that. I'm sorry, Brandon. He says, I like both AEW and WWE, but NXT won hands down because at the end of the day, ratings will determine which company is more consistent. It's true. AEW
Yep,
is
I
kind of
agree.
up and down lately. I
They're
think
not
that
consistent.
the whole CM Punk thing though did kind of drive a wedge with their fans. I think that you did hurt your markets a lot by all this stuff that happened. And I'm not blaming one side or the other. It was everybody's fault involved, but
Which is funny because you didn't have. Well, I would have to go back and look at the ratings, but I don't know how much of a drift it was when you had Brett and Sean's situations at the screw job. How much of that factored in and people changing over. With this was more of a bigger deal, and you got what half your audience is gone. It seems.
yeah, it's weird, man, and it all stemmed from the brawl out too. So, Matthew Lopez says no one wants WWE to be the only game in town. We have several options of pro wrestling with Impact, AEW, New Japan. Hell, even NWA has been pretty good. I don't think that. Listen, and this may sound kind of mean, but I don't care about Impact. I don't care about New Japan. I don't care about NWA. That is just, look, I want to see wrestling on a mainstream circuit, and if I ain't seeing it on a mainstream circuit, I go to the independent shows. We were just talking about going to Defy over here in Yakima, Washington. Defy's got a hell of a card lined up. Might just catch that this Friday. Swerve's in town. Swerve's our boy. Nick Wayne's going to be here, so Ultimo Dragon's even pulling up with Hoovy Juice, so I mean, might attend that. But when it comes to like mainstream, like I have a hard time watching. When I was younger, I used to love ROH in the smaller arenas. Same with Impact and stuff like that. Now I just can't get with any of the storylines that are going on over there. Just me personally, I don't know. I don't want. Because listen, man, if AEW goes away and WWE only has New Japan, Impact, and NWA, they're not a threat to them at all.
Yeah, they'll do their own shtick, and
yeah,
hopefully you don't get the same thing.
Because we had all of that before AEW. You know what I mean? We had all of that before AEW came to town.
It was either
WWE was just running crappy.
Yeah, before AEW was either watch WWE or just watch something else. That's pretty much what it was for me. Impact, if you really want to, New Japan and whatnot, but that's pretty much what it was, and it just got tiring, and AEW was the alternative, and, I don't want it to go away, It was cool back then, with WCW and WWF, and it sucks if, I don't think this will go away, but there is some concerns, as much as Tony wants to, comply and say that we're the best thing around in town, there's got to be some sort of worry on his mind. As much he doesn't want to point it out, seeing the whole other side empty, you're seeing a lot of seats. I've been noticing as well, like some arenas can't even sell like 3,000 tickets, which is concerning. We didn't have this then, so you got to have to make some major changes. I don't know what, but it's the fact, like I give you props, Tony, for being a workhorse, but you cannot do this by yourself. You can't. Triple H has even said it. Yeah, this booking stuff is not easy, which it's not. And I know Tony doesn't want. I know Tony shouldn't say this like it's a cupcake job, because it's not. You need help. Bryan Danielson ain't gonna just help you out. Not getting credibility and getting advice from Chris Jericho or Pups or John Moxley and them for advice. You need help. You need people to literate for you. It's a lot. The fact that you have to go and do last minute changes is probably frustrating to him. What if you get sick? It's. I give him props for doing it, but at the end of the day, you need some backup for you. You do. Vince McMahon would never do this. Yeah, I understand he made some changes all the damn time. And he had, I don't know how many writers they have, like 10, 15 of them, but still you have some people to back you up.
I agree. I think that Tony Khan does need a little bit of help with the creativity in general. They do have a lot of great minds in AEW, though, too. It doesn't necessarily mean that you need to hire outside writers. You have Sting in your company. You have Arn Anderson. You have Edge now. There's tons of creativity.
Yeah, you can ask. I mean, not everyone is wrestling. Yeah, like you mentioned, Sting. You have Dean Malenko. You have You got some ECW guys. Hell, you can ask the commentaries, him, Taz, Jim Ross. You can ask any of them, Tony. You don't need to hire everyone that WWE has or some writer off the street,
Yeah, 100%, man. Let's get to some more comments. Brian Pearsall, what's up, fellas? Love the layout. Thanks, man. Thanks for always supporting us, too, over here, Brian. I appreciate you, bro. Brandon says both AEW and WWE are good, but NXT having to garner 921K views shows how consistent and successful WWE can be. You got a point. Matthew Lopez said,
I will say they will not. I am pretty sure they won't even get 900,000 next week. They'll probably be in the 8s with NXT.
It could be. I don't know. When Becky Lynch was on the show by herself, they got 1 million. So explain that. Just Becky Lynch. I think it's the right time, right place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Depends, man.
Maybe showcasing it on the main roster. Like, you watch Raw, so I don't know if they mention anything about NXT. Probably
they
not
do.
too much.
Yeah. No, they do. Yeah, they plug in
the recent one. Raw. The recent one? Did they plug it?
No, every time I've watched Raw, they've plugged NXT because it's the next day. So yeah, they plug it on the same network.
Could you imagine? I mean, they would have probably been one if you announced Roman Reigns. That's all you needed.
No,
1 mil.
Maybe.
So
everything Pro Wrestling says Pillman MJF, so that he was commenting on what we were talking about earlier. Matthew Lopez says Pillman Jr., King promo was incredible. King promo, yeah. So he changed his name to Lexus King. There's reasoning behind that too.
Which is fine. I don't mind it.
I'm okay with it. Yeah, I'm okay with it.
Makes completely sense. I thought it was, to me, I always thought it was a generic thing, just, taking whoever's name in the family that wrestled and using it. Not all the time, but there's certain people it just didn't stick to, and it's a lot of pressure to just 100%. Follow in this footsteps. So
Isaiah Hill says, yo, Roxanne is a future women's champion. Give her a push. So I'm not too familiar.
She's talented. Okay. She's talented.
I don't watch NXT, so once again, I watch highlights and stuff, so I know of her, but not a bit. She was NXT guy.
I'm surprised Tony picked her up. Yeah, she was, if I'm not mistaken, Ring of Honor, Roxy.
Okay.
Before Tony, I think, purchased it. I believe that's what she was going under.
Jason says, but don't get me wrong, bro. Despite the fact that I am disappointed with WWE's writing team, I see a lot of future talent coming to the main roster, such as Tiffany Stratton, Wesley, and Dragunov. Yeah, so I actually really dig Tiffany Stratton. I think she's awesome. We got to see a little bit of her on the pay-per-view, so that was fun on NXT No Mercy. I did catch NXT No Mercy. So, yeah, man, I think you're right, man. Dragunov was fun to watch.
I think Wesley is kind of have a brighter, I guess, NXT lookout, because that was always our thing. We brought it up, was that when you go into NXT, it was always, all right, the worrisome is, what are you going to do on the main roster? Where are they going to pencil you in? Not everyone was successful because they just put them in weird spots. I think I see a lot for NXT. There is some stars. I'm not going to, take their credibility away. I mean, Tiffany Stratton is one. Dragon Lee, I know, just got moved to SmackDown. And some main roster people kind of helps. I mean, as much as I don't really care for Baron Corbin, he's been doing a lot better, I would say. I've heard from many people. I don't think we're going to go back to the days of where you had Keith Lee being Bearcat Lee. You had Adam Cole that was rumored to be Keith Lee's manager. And he was always against going to the main roster because of Vince McMahon. So I see some production going on without Vince.
Everything Pro Wrestling said Roxanne dipped before TK had had purchased ROH.
That's what I figured. Yeah.
Matthew Lopez says the Iron Claw trailer was great. It's going to be an emotional movie. Man, an emotional roller coaster is right for that movie. I can't wait for that thing, man. December what does that movie come out, Matthew? It's in theaters. December 20th, I think, is the date. But dude, it's in movie theaters, and I'm really excited about that. Sucks that Heels is gone, but I think this is going to be that good story to tell, man. It was brought up that it's not 100% accurate.
Yeah, 22nd.
Okay. It was brought up that it's not 100% accurate on their story, but nonetheless, it's going to be a good movie.
Yep.
Gabe says, what? Defy is going to be in Yakima. Yes, man. Defy will be in Yakima this Friday. This Friday at the Yakima Sundome. So go get your tickets, man. It's going to be they got that card. I don't know if you follow us on social media, Gabe. Hit me up on social media. I will tag you on the card and where you can get tickets. If you travel over here to the Tri-Cities area, you can actually go to Sunken Treasure right now while they still have tickets, and they're giving them away. So you can get free tickets. We actually, I think, are getting free tickets. So, and they start at $50. So they're kind of spendy for Defy being in an arena, which is crazy. Defy is running arenas now, James. It's not Washington Hall.
No. Yeah. Oh, I know. When they came down here, it was like a little hole in the wall shack.
Okay. Gabe, I see that you put that down there. He says he does follow us. Hit us up in our DMs. If you can't for some reason get to our DMs, because I'm pretty sure I follow you back. If you can't get in the DMs, just tag me in a post, man, and I will follow you back. So, yeah, Defy, Yakima, definitely if you're in that area, go and check that out because that's going to be a banger. Defy never disappoints, ever. They never disappoint. No. So, unlike this Title Tuesday, Title Tuesday was very disappointing for me. How do you feel about Saraya's title reign?
Yeah, I thought they just did it for the moment. I'm sorry, but
did you see that meme? Who made that meme? Who did that girl wrong? They said they said it was a montage of Saraya's AEW title reign, and it showed the one victory in All In, and he said right after the All In like victory shot,
that's it.
Thank you for watching.
Yeah. Just like it was iBeast that went off on her saying, oh, yeah, the IWC hates wrestling. She's like, well, you're part of it, too. I mean, when was the last time you defended the damn title? I mean, there was jokes like, oh, yeah, your women's champion can't even make a German suplex, which she took one in the show, funny enough.
It was a terrible German suplex.
Yeah, it was very slow. It was,
I have seen my kids German suplex each other.
Yeah.
Harder than that, so it's
I thought it was stupid that she won the title in London. I get it for the hometown stuff and being a big deal. F that. She can't even do this and that. And I'm glad she's back. Don't get me wrong, but let's be honest, she can't do too much in it. You could have just left. Who was the champion at the time? Was it Sheeta that she won the title from?
I think so.
I can't remember. And then
I think it was.
Yeah. I mean, hell, you could have put it. I was fine. Hell, put it back on Toni Storm. You could have done that. You didn't need to give it to her. Yeah, she came up with Queen, but the family was there. But you don't need to give Happy Hennings, because the family was there. I get it, but I thought it was a bad move by TK in general.
We're gonna talk a little bit more AEW, and then we're gonna get into WWE 2K24. So remind me. Don't let me forget this time, because last time we forgot to talk about it. Jason says, my criticism towards WWE's writing team was definitely coming from a place of love. I can only hope that every deserving superstar will be used to their highest potential. Storytelling matters. 100%, man. In both companies. Yeah. When I give criticism to AEW and WWE, I always come from love. Like, I just want wrestling to be good, man, and successful. I come from the Attitude Era. I grew up in the Attitude Era when wrestling was at its hottest. Period. There was no hotter time. So if we could ever get wrestling back to that, it's good living, man, for everybody.
Don't do the Tony Khan route of, hey, let's announce a tournament, and then we'll make a story off of that.
Yeah.
Which I'm pretty sure it's going to come back. Your favorite thing, tournaments. I would not be surprised.
Not a fan of tournaments, man. Not a fan.
Just to mention, Tony, I knew you hear me. You're going to make a whole pay-per-view called like Tournament Alley or some crap.
Our podcast is not called Dave Meltzer, so he's not hearing you. Isaiah Hill says WWE 2K24. By the way, let's bring that up real quick. Dave Meltzer reported that CM Punk was he was in talks with WWE, and he was straight turned down. On the other side, Sean Ross Sapp actually tweeted back at us and answered our question. CM Punk was never in talks with WWE, according to Sean Ross Sapp. So which one's lying? You know what I mean? And which one has the agenda? Because I tell you right now, I don't think it's Sean Ross Sapp. What do you think, James?
it's a toss up. I mean, Dave, I don't know who Dave's getting his sourcing from compared to Sean's, but I think I have more credibility with Sean. I
Yeah,
mean, he's the he
100%.
was the first one that called BS about, oh hey, the Saudi deal was happening, and he was the first, and yeah, BS, that's not happening. And he was right. He's been right for majority of the time. He backs up his words, and if Dave, on the other hand, likes to backtrack every single time. Him and Brian, which I cannot stand, you know, it's just media in general. These two clowns, oh God, I don't know who the hell has a good time with them. I
There's a
really
lot of
don't.
people. They have a huge following
Yeah,
of
they
like
do.
cult members, dude. These guys are a cancer to wrestling. I will always say that. What they put in the dirt sheets is what people read, and then they create their own narrative, and they create a different opinion, right? So, like, if you
They're
like
just
somebody,
bad as the news.
Dave Meltzer can write something that he wants you to feel, and you're going to feel that instead of your own opinion. Like what you like in professional wrestling. Have your own opinion. Generate your own opinion. Look, there's a lot of people that liked AEW last night, thought it was the better show. There's people in this chat right now thought it was a really good show. I thought the show stunk. I'm not mad at them for liking it. Great. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Please, like your own thing. Generate your own opinion. Don't listen or let dirt sheets dictate how you feel about professional wrestling or how you feel about professional wrestlers. I'm a CM Punk fan. I'm an Elite fan. I can like them both. And I don't need another wrestling fan on Twitter to tell me otherwise. You know what I'm saying? So that is just how it is. But
I'll hear your opinion, but I'll develop my own.
100%. 100%. We can talk. We can talk, but
don't have an influence here.
Yeah. Your influence will not change my mind, for sure. Byron Cutler hiding over here in the wings, waiting for as soon as we mention WWE 2K24, Byron pops up out of the dust, says, I think we create a championship, create an arena, and trades and 5 max and 6 matches. I think he meant 5-man and 6-man matches with the addition of Elimination Chamber and Money in the Bank and ECW and WWE 2K24. My GM. Hopefully, man. Hopefully. Brian Pearsall says, shout out Attitude Era. I was watching the Attitude Era with Brian Pearsall, so he knows what's up, man. We used to go to his house to watch WCW Slamboree and other WCW pay-per-views that we ordered at his house after baseball practice or whatever it was. Man, shout out to your parents, Brian, for paying for that stuff, too.
And
that was some good times.
And as much crap as the Attitude Era was with storylines, it still got you invested. I mean,
straight Jerry Springer.
Yeah, I mean the Patriots suck. Patriots suck. Your favorite superstar, but he put some asses in those seats. There was a storyline.
If you go back and listen to our audio podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or Spotify, or wherever you get audio podcasts, we're everywhere. Amazon Music, you name it, we're there. Stitcher, whatever. Actually, I don't even think Stitcher's around anymore, but we were on it. We're everywhere. Go and listen to the old episodes. We were actually doing a Attitude Era Monday Night Raw deep dive and rewatching the Attitude Era from 1997. And we couldn't even make it through 97 because it was so corny and so bad. At my adult age, I was watching it and I was like, dude.
However,
I cannot watch another episode with the Patriot. I cannot do this anymore. This is torture. Like, I'm done.
It worked. It worked.
No, and it got better. We just didn't make it to that point. But we stopped like suddenly. We're like,
you had what's his name? Feuding with Butterbean. As corny as it was, it still got somewhere
with the brawl for it all. Ugh.
Yeah, brawl for all. You had Goldust.
Terrible times.
You had Goldust going on. You had Brian Pillman going on. It was wild times, but there were stories with it. The wrestling sucked. You had matches end like in 2 minutes and a DQ and then a big brawl. That's what it was.
Yep.
And it worked.
Punch kick. Conrad earlier can give you the whole walk down on how those matches went. Jason says, Attitude Era. Jesse, this is why we click. 90s kids rock. 100%, man. I was actually born in the 80s, but grew up in the 90s, so definitely. I'm old, man. I may look young, maybe. I don't know, but I'm older. Isaiah Hill says, to be honest, I don't want CM Punk back in WWE 2K24. James, shake your head at him.
I mean, I don't really care, to be honest, if he goes or not.
Shut your mouth.
I don't care.
Shut your mouth.
You want Dave and them infesting that locker room?
Tell me you didn't just say that.
Telling you, we're going to be...
Shut up, bitch!
Again. I'm telling you, it's going to happen again.
Slander. I would love personally.
Oh, hey, CM Punk was in the back and he had an aggressive argument with Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, and Heyman was going to throw a punch. We're going to get some bullshit. Yeah. Exactly, Dave. But it's
slander. I want CM Punk back in WWE 2K. That would be awesome. So I disagree, sirs. I disagree. Everything Pro Wrestling says. Where was the Elite yesterday? Shocking, yeah. During a huge wartime, where were the Elite? If that was like,
I thought you would pull the 4 enforcement, and like Tony, they're one call away. You can get them on a flight. You knew this was happening. Like, oh, we're prepping for Collision. Who gives a crap about Collision? I haven't watched that in a while. I don't know if you've been watching it.
I've had a hard time watching it since CM Punk left the show, for sure.
I was at the fair and I just heard, oh, this happened. Oh, okay. That's it. I'm treating it like NXT. I don't watch it.
I always watch it, Collision a little later, though, too. I don't watch wrestling on the weekends too much unless it's a pay-per-view and I'm gathering with friends or whatever the case is.
Crown Jewel, baby.
Yeah, I won't be doing that. That is not happening.
Cody Rhodes, you'll be watching it. He'll tell you.
Yeah. It's not happening. I love Cody, but I'm not tuning into that Saudi stuff. I'm not. Everything Pro Wrestling says CM Punk stuff is depressing. Yeah, Conrad is the ultimate. I'm a CM Punk fan, but Conrad is the ultimate CM Punk fan for sure. Byron Cutler says, Ruthless Aggression era showcase in WWE 2K24. That'd be good. They kind of did some Ruthless stuff this year with John Cena, but a full Ruthless Aggression career mode would be awesome. Jason says, Jesse and I are 37. Yes, sir. Yes, actually, I'm 36. I'll be 37 in January. So close enough. Everything Pro Wrestling says, no CM Punk. What's DLC? Henry O. Godwin. For real.
Hey, the slob drop, man. That would be so awesome.
Yeah, Jason over here bringing up the 90s Power Rangers. Bro, if you don't know, you'll never understand, man. You got to go back and watch that old 90s Power Rangers. When the Green Ranger came, Jason David Frank, bro, that was hot, man. I'd watch that over wrestling any day right now. I'm just saying. Let's wrap it up, dude, on this AEW talk. So there was a situation.
I got one right here 11 minutes ago from Tony Khan. Okay. I quote, "Thank you for all who watched on AEW on any other Wednesday. Hashtag AEW Dynamite would be on TBS now. Thanks to you, AEW wrestlers and staff. We've come so far from a startup in a parking lot. We all teamed up to put on a great show last night. I hope that we always keep our challenger spirit." And of course, he's doing the same crap. First comment, enjoyed this ratio, Tony. Tony responds, I will enjoy this ratio, Dan. Thank you.
Okay.
He's still going off on the fans.
So I don't really even know what to say anymore about the Tony Khan tweets. It's getting a little outrageous, but look, there was an incident that happened. We're not going to get into full details because I don't want to cause trouble on YouTube. There was an incident that happened with Juice Robinson last night that had everybody in an uproar on Twitter. We're not going to get all into it because, once again, I don't know if it violates YouTube, so we're not going to talk too much about it, but crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff. Bad timing, James?
Yeah, I would say it's bad timing.
Okay.
Just not get into it.
Okay, let's leave it at that. Bad timing. Hopefully it works itself out and everything will be okay eventually. But yeah, let's just chalk it up to bad timing, bad taste. How about that? Let's say that.
Yeah.
It really shows you that you cannot have another Attitude Era in today's wrestling. You just can't. Like the fans would never allow something like an Attitude Era in today's wrestling. Wrestling would be canceled. Period. Wrestling would be
Well,
canceled.
there's been a lot of gimmicks that would not be acceptable.
100%. 100%. So let's wrap it up. What did you think was the better show, James? I told you both shows suck, but I did have a favorite. So let's talk about it. What was your favorite show and why? What happened on this show that really, if anything, stood out for you?
Oh man, it's a toss up because I did give NXT my watch time, and there was certain things they did. Promote almost every wrestler. You had everyone involved. That was I don't know if I'm the only one, but I don't know what NXT numbers look like for like attendance in that arena. But it was a pretty stacked crowd, and AEW had a stacked crowd as well. Ooh, I want to give the line side to AEW just because the matches were more better there. I didn't care for the main roster guys. We used to have major complaints when they used to do Legends nights on like a Raw and a SmackDown. It was the backup plan when the show sucked. And that's what I kind of felt with NXT, like just doing this backup thing. And I get it. It's a one-time deal. You're not going to have John Cena and Cody Rhodes and them on there. With a normal showing, I watch AEW more, and I just thought I clicked better with AEW. So personally, I would take AEW. I thought the matches were more better. NXT, I would say, was better on segment wise. There was hardly any segments on the AEW side. NXT, I think, did a lot better. I think they just had certain things placed up correctly. With Cody Rhodes as the GM. But I enjoyed NXT AEW more.
Okay. I'm actually going to give this one to NXT, dude. The only thing that I really enjoyed personally for me on AEW was the Swerve and Bryan Danielson match. But I did like the Tony Storm stuff during the picture-in-picture, which I hate picture-in-picture, so that made it a little more entertaining for me. The silent films were great. I've always loved the Adam Cole segments with Roderick Strong. The Adam! Like, come on, man. I just have one more thing for you to do. Come on, Adam. Like, that whole thing is great, dude. This is the best thing that I've ever seen Roderick Strong involved in. I did not like the segment with MJF and Juice Robinson, even though I love both of those guys. I just thought it was brutal and it took too long. And
it felt like
the controversy that happened. I honestly didn't pay attention to the controversy that happened and think that way about it. But I was surely reminded as soon as I got on Twitter. But I just didn't like the segment, even not knowing that stuff. I just didn't like the segment. I thought it was just long and brutal. The Edge match was just terrible to watch. It was so boring.
Yeah, I think the difference with it, he got attacked right away. I get it. He was taking tombstones and choke slams, which is different, not doing high spots and all that. And he was pushing himself to do it.
The fact that he let Luchasaurus do a tombstone on this guy's neck.
He had to have proved that himself that, hey, I want to do it.
It's just wild to me, man.
He's not the only one. Look, we used to go off on Sting oh, really? Sting's doing that dive? Sting doesn't care.
It just scares me, man. I don't want to see anybody hurt.
I don't want nobody hurt, but I get it. You want to do things that do, of course, I get why. I don't know if this is him poking the bear and telling see, I can do I can take a choke slam. I can take a tombstone. You guys wouldn't allow it one time over there, which is fine. I don't mind it. He wants to prove himself that, hey, I can do a lot more than what people think,
I really only enjoyed one match from AEW, and like I said, that was the Swerve and Danielson match. That I
probably two matches for myself.
I would say that Orange Cassidy and Rey Fenix was okay, but as soon as Orange Cassidy won the title, I was like, okay, I don't know, what are we doing here? But
I think there's a story with it, and I haven't seen this, but I remember I used to bring you guys these numbers about NXT had about what within the 2-hour depths of the show, they would have 40% wrestling, 60% segments, while AEW was 70% wrestling, 30% segments.
Yeah.
And
I'm a segment guy. I like segments during my TV. So
yeah. Not every time, but majority of the time, the segments are going to win me over. Like the Dynamite beforehand was good. This one, the segments wide, there was hardly any. You had Chris Jericho getting checked out. You had the Tony Storm.
Can I explain something to you real quick? There's a lot of fans that hate how Monday Night Raw starts out with a promo, right? Like it's always a promo starting out. Like, oh man, I just want to kick right into the action, kick right into wrestling, right? Like that's what most people want to do. I feel the complete opposite. I prefer because, and look, I'm going to give you the reason why I feel this way. The reason why I prefer a segment in the beginning is because when I get home, I'm still on go mode. I work a normal job. I'm a content creator, so I'm constantly thinking of new video ideas, new podcast segments to do, whatever, making graphics, like the graphics that you see that we present on this show. I make everything, the t-shirt design, all that stuff. Like my mind is going 24/7 on top of a shoot job. And my shoot job is mind numbing at times. You know what I mean? So with that being said, my cool down period is when I get home. I get home, take my dogs out. I'm going to give you my thing right here. Get home, take my dogs out, go take a shower. You know what I mean? Get out of the shower, and I start making some food or something. And by the time I'm making that food or getting pouring some Coke Zero in a cup or whatever, I have wrestling on. So I'm not really invested into a match right off the bat. So instead, I would much rather listen to the segment while I'm getting, settled in. All that. It kind of eases me into the programming. I prefer that personally as a wrestling fan. That I've always loved how we started off shows with, a segment and then maybe a brawl segment, whatever the case is, to kind of, all right, what's going to happen later on after this? So I've always loved that setup.
It kind of gives you that show feeling compared to when you go to a pay-per-view, okay, you're expecting wrestling. But then with the like a regular show, Raw, SmackDown, you kind of like, all right, you get a segment, whoever comes out champion talks, and then you have the heel come out and it stirs up the pot and then announces the match. Oh, hey, this is your main event, or hey, let's do a match right now, something like that. It gets you, it's kind of pushing me to the point of that I don't like the idea that AEW announces matches early, and I don't know if that's just because they do it to get a ticket boost. You can announce maybe 1 or 2 matches at max and then give me the rest as a surprise, which is fine. I think that's kind of the way I think AEW should go, but because they void the route of, hey, the tickets aren't selling, so we got to just announce a stellar card and put a match and get everything, like it kind of throws the element of surprise away, of somebody showing up. That's why NXT doesn't do it all the time. Maybe for they have Halloween Havoc coming up. They announce everything because that's a specialty show, which I think AEW needs to do that as well with the specialty shows. They kind of dropped the ball. Remember, Winter is Coming was a thing. They don't do it as much anymore. Beach Break, or
they do Winter is Coming every year. What are you talking about?
Or certain ones like they used to do. What was the ones like early beginning? They used to do shows like that and the themes and all that. They don't do that as much anymore. It's just Winter is Coming and that's it. They just have it on the screen, but that's it. Nothing.
So you're talking about themes like stage setups and
give me something like that. Give me
visually,
something. But I think announcing everything early is kind of a back burner. It was okay before. Now it's like, are we doing for desperation because your ticket sales aren't getting there, so let's announce a stellar match? While WWE's is like, we'll announce a segment here and there and that's it. Like I don't know what's on SmackDown. I think it's just Roman Reigns maybe, and it may be a match, and it gets people going. I want to hear someone talking to Mike.
At this point,
just my personal belief.
I've always loved the whole wrestling themes too, and like even the mat canvas is covered in like wrestling themed out, just themed out.
I will say that was the one thing TNA, I used to give them crap because they used to do it all the freaking time. Like, it was always a Thursday, Impact, and then I think they do like a specialty Friday show. Hell, as much as we gave crap to WWE for doing some theme pay-per-views, maybe you got to do something like that. Maybe just one. Maybe Lockdown, I think, was my favorite TNA pay-per-view. Do something with cages. When was the last time we had a cage match on AEW? I haven't seen that in a while. If they're known to go balls out and do this and that and buying theme songs and, having pyro, give me something. I don't know.
let's finish out these comments and start talking some WWE 2K24. I'm gonna say this. I felt like the matches were more. I enjoyed the matches better on NXT. I'm not saying that. I think that Bryan Danielson and Swerve had the match of the night between both shows. Personally, that may be a little biased speaking out, just because they're both my hometown guys. But that was my favorite thing to watch for the most part. But I felt like the show over on NXT had a little more structure, and it was just the type of show that I would prefer watching. And I guess maybe I just expected more from AEW. So that's probably what went on.
And just one more thing, like, okay, NXT bringing main roster guys, and the so-called, at the time we had the soft split, split roster for AEW, Collision, and Dynamite. This is the one time you could have brought both of them all together in one. And you don't do that, Tony. That was a missed opportunity. Hell, I'm surprised. Like you mentioned, the Bucks weren't there. Kenny Omega weren't there. FTR. I understand one. Of them is injured. I'm not gonna get into it. You could have brought another one, and you could have done. Was there a tag team match on the show? I don't even think there was one.
No, it's shocking.
Which is shocking. There were trios. Hell, NXT had one, and it was entertaining.
I'm glad we didn't do trios on.
You know what I'm saying? It's just there was the writing on the wall, and he missed it. Easily. He probably would have lost, but you could have done something. They had the thought to do a specialty match, and you didn't do a single one. You focused on Title Tuesday. I'm sorry, but like this was kind of like what's that thing? Battle of the Belts in a way. That's how I felt with the show. Battle of the Belts.
I hate trios matches. Jason says Jesse and James, you guys are doing great. Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Appreciate you guys all hanging out in the chat, too, man, and listening. That means a lot to us. Byron Cutler says, if they do a Ruthless Aggression era showcase, every superstar you play as should have their own chapter. That would be great, man. Mike, what's going on, Mike? Jesse and James, what's up?
Hey, how's it going?
Thanks for stopping in, man. I appreciate that. I'm not sure if you've been in the live chats before, but I appreciate you stopping in. Jason says Tony Khan provoking the game himself might be something he should reconsider. WWE is known for buying out their competition. He ain't buying out Tony Khan, brother. Tony Khan is them pockets run deep over there in AEW.
Too bad his father's pockets don't run deep, asking the city of Jacksonville for his Jaguars. Bum.
Byron Keller says, and I do think we get creative finisher in WWE 2K24. Could be, man. I'll have to reach out to good old B Will and tell him, hey, the community's asking for this, dude. We got to get it. Everything Pro Wrestling said, it's like a formula to me, just rinse and repeat. I prefer variety in segments, especially the opening. I mean, to each their own, really. It is what it is. And also a variety is good. I'm not hating on it. I just
I think the number of times
segment.
As we much give crap, like, they do a segment signing and not segment sign, but they do like segment as a contract signing, someone that's always gets thrown in the damn table, or, just a famous brawl, or, hey, a one-on-one turns into a 2-on-2 in a trios, as stupid as it is, it works. I don't know what it is, but, sometimes AEW should kind of follow that formula. They might just have to go to maybe DQ finishes would be interesting in AEW. I'm kind of leaning towards that now. Like, I used to bash it, but, sometimes it kind of works.
Yeah. I like DQ. If it's done right, it's good.
If it's done right. Not every single time,
If
same
it's
with the
right,
draw. Do some controversy finish, do something like that. And for God's sakes, give me some cliffhangers. We need cliffhangers in professional wrestling.
For the last 2 weeks, we haven't really answered on the great cliffhanger that they gave us 2 weeks ago with who's behind the max.
They elaborate it.
It's terrible. You mentioning it doesn't mean nothing. Like, we need to, I don't know, something more.
I'm pretty sure you wanted those guys to attack somebody else over and over. And
yeah, of course I do.
Which the WWE route, and they're just like...
Of course I do. That would be the way to go. Period. Not just mentioning it. We know it was you behind the mask. Oh,
maybe,
Thanks
who knows?
For following up on that, guys. Yeah. Jason says,
I want my title. Give it to me.
That's what that whole segment was to me, man.
It was like what I mentioned.
Give me what I want. The Batista meme. Give me what I want.
No, but I want your ring next week.
Man.
Adam, pick up the phone.
Good old Batista.
You keep on kissing babies and hugging fat girls.
Jason says, I am team WWE, but in my opinion, AEW humiliates WWE when it comes to character persona, promos, and development. Wow. I disagree with that. I love you, Jason, but I disagree with that. I feel like AEW has no problem going the extra mile, just like the old WWE. I don't know, man. I feel like characters develop better in WWE. Personally.
There's some oddball ones, I would say.
AEW has some guys that just get out and they like Swerve. Swerve is one of them. I would say Orange Cassidy is another. I would say John Moxley has really come into his own, you know what I mean, doing his thing. I like John Moxley way more than I liked Dean Ambrose.
Hell, I mean, you had the best
MJF, of course.
We're getting up there. Yeah, MJF.
Christian this is the best run of his career for sure. So, but I don't think that's AEW. I think that's all them. That's their choice. They have the time to go out there and get themselves over, and they seize the moment. I do believe that it was fully on the wrestlers for that, and good for them too, because it's
Tony, you're
television.
on the phone. I'm surprised you didn't call Will Ospreay to come on the damn show. Like, come on, you could have called some of these guys. You had, don't get me wrong, Suzuki in there, fantastic wrestler. I love the character and the way he is, but I'm surprised you didn't call anybody else. You could have called some. You could have called a lot of people. If they're throwing the big guns, you had the time to call people.
Yeah. Byron Cutler says, I think we get podcasts in WWE 2K24 My Rise. We had one in the podcast thing in the My Rise for the Justine My Rise or whatever.
Oh, yeah, there was. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a podcast. Everything Pro Wrestling, they do the same themes he's talking about for The Winter is Coming. Let's get to some of these comments so they don't get too far down there. Everything Pro Wrestling says, Beach Break got traded for Bash at the Beach for Cody Rhodes, trademark allegedly. A good trade. Everything Pro Wrestling says, every match is a cage match. It's talking about TNA. So Byron Cutler says, and I think they bring the phone back for My Rise, and I do think we get podcasts back for My Rise, and I think co-op will be introduced for My Rise. I think the co-op would be great if you made it online. Everything Pro Wrestling says, AEW fans have to stop the cap. I just read someone say FTR are ruining the tag division. That's the fan base. It's Mighty Molly unlocked in WWE 2K24. Is that a prediction? Mike says, awesome. Byron Cutler says, I do think that we get promos and show intros and more action items in WWE 2K24 Universe Mode. Let's talk about it, man. Universe Mode. Let's talk about WWE 2K24. James, you are probably the worst supporter. You're a part of the Pro Wrestling Shoot, and you're the worst supporter of my videos when it comes to the video. I have yet to see a comment on this last video from you. No opinions whatsoever from Mr. Pinyard Jr. What is going on? Are you excited for WWE 2K24? I know you like the wrestling games. Wrestling games.
No, I do. I think, funny enough, I know we mentioned it. I bring up Chris Williams here and there. The talk's been about Call of Duty. But 2K24,
that new Call of Duty is going to go hard.
Yeah, I've heard some goods and bads about it, but I'll end up buying it because I hated this last one. It sucked for me. I don't know. I couldn't get into it.
I loved the last one. This last one was really good. That was my favorite Call of Duty since Modern Warfare 2, the original. 2K24, oh God, I'm asking it on my Christmas list. Please get rid of my faction, please, for the love of God. Just it doesn't That's
work.
Not happening.
Yeah, I know.
You know as well as I know, as well as our friend Brian Williams knows, my faction is not going anywhere. But what I think is going to happen with WWE 2K24 is we could possibly be getting some of those exclusives removed from the exclusivity. Like, I think that we're going to be unlocking models throughout the thing. But the thing is if I have to grind for the models, I've said it in the previous videos, if I have to grind for the models, you better put the Titantrons and music in there, man. You better come correct with these models and not just give me the model only. Like, I want the moveset. I want everything.
If you let me showcase it to my friends, like put it online, I'll give it a chance. I'll play it. But because it's there, I'm like, what am I showcasing for? Oh, to play against someone that's on a my faction mode. It's I don't know. I mean, I haven't played, like I said, I haven't played Madden Ultimate Team or FIFAs in a long time, but it was it was the cool thing, like having that exclusive character on your side, and you can use them. Not you can't limit it to just the My Faction online mode. You got to do it with the whole entire damn thing. That's how I personally felt about it.
What about features, man? What are you thinking about? Like, because I'm sick of talking about My Faction. I know it's coming back, and I don't really care about My Faction anymore. It's whatever at this point. I never liked it in Madden. I never liked it in NBA. I didn't like it in hockey. I don't like it in WWE. So, what do you think about like little features? Not match types, because everybody's thing is like match types, right? Like we want more match types. There's a lot of people talking about like Buried Alive and casket matches and stuff to make a return. I think we had casket matches in one game.
Yeah, I'd have to look. I would have to double check
one
that.
game that we've had a casket match, which is kind of crazy. But Buried Alive, I do think we did have. Didn't we have a Buried Alive match?
Yeah, it was buried. I can't remember. Was it casket or Buried Alive? It was.
We had a casket match.
You had to go to the top of the ramp, and
that was Buried Alive.
Okay, that was Buried Alive. Then
Buried Alive, yeah. The casket match, I do believe, was like SmackDown 2 on PlayStation.
Jeez. Yeah, it was very yeah.
So it was a long time ago, man. A long time ago for that. But there's other things too that I would like to incorporate other than just match types, man. I think that they need to like revamp the submission system. I think they need to revamp the pin system. How cool would it be to have a dirty pin where you could pull on the trunks? Something different. We always had like a dirty pin where we just put the feet on the ropes. I think the trunk pulling really add some
like the little features. I've been a big supporter, and I've told you sometimes here and there was the double knockout. That was an OG thing, like back 06, 07. That was one. That was one that I liked. Like, the whole 10 count thing. That was like I don't know why they ever got rid of that, and they still do it in professional.
I want some more tired features too, not just finishers, but like if I go to hit somebody with a clothesline and I'm dead tired, I should just stay. We should have crawling features, all sorts of stuff. I understand they still want it to be a video game, but I want to have that WWE or even wrestling experience in a match. Like, let this thing tell a story. Like, I get why they don't do it
like that.
Because kids playing the game would get tired of, like, oh, this is so annoying. I'm always tired or this and that. I think it would add some really cool content.
Yeah, full of them. It's like, oh, hey, you got a double knockout because you knocked them out, but you ran all your energy out. Or, I know they were doing like the tired finishers. I don't know how much. I don't remember how much they put in there, but put more tired finishes in there. Or, you're out there brawling in for a count out. You're trying to get in the ring. You both fall down. Double count out. I would say another feature you could throw in, if you break a weapon, like a table, for example, you break it. They've done this in recent WWE matches. Let me use that, initial table that broke. Let me slam it on someone. Let me hit someone with it. Let me break off the piece of the leg.
For God's sakes, add double stack tables again.
Yeah. Do that.
Why did we take that out?
Let me turn the steel steps, put them on its side instead of just a generic, the guy just throws it on the floor.
How'd you feel about SmackDown versus Raw 2011, where you had the weapons physics and the carrying physics, like to where if any move on your arsenal, right, you didn't have to just do the carry moves, where
you can guide it where you want.
You can guide anything where you want, and you had the weapons physics, the crash physics that were going on in SmackDown versus Raw 2011. They need to have that. Like, I have videos on this next video I'm going to drop where it shows me. Hold on a second. I have a video on this next video that I'm going to drop on Friday where it shows me DDTing somebody on a ladder. You feel nothing out of that. Like, you see it, but you don't hear it. You don't feel the impact from this. Like, there's nothing there.
You can do additional, like you said, you can move you're doing a suplex and you rotate to throw your guy into the table. How about from the top rope, do some sequence like that, or do it the opposite way where I can throw them off and throw them, from the turnbuckle and swing it over, something like that. There's a lot of moves you can do. I'm trying to remember I don't know if they've ever tried this, maybe you're on your opponent's on the top rope and you jump and spear them and you fall out of the ring, right over that. I don't know if, correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't played 2K23 in a while. Of course, you can jump over the ropes. What about jumping over a whole turnbuckle? I don't even know if that's
You
allowed
can't
in the
do that.
game.
No.
Yeah, I'm surprised they haven't done that in there.
You can springboard from the turnbuckle, but
Yeah,
not
just
outside.
not jumping over. Like I think it was Montez Ford. It's done that.
Mhm.
I don't know how many freaking times.
Yeah.
You can do the elimination chambers one, since I know that's you can do like a crab walk on the top of the thing and then just jump down. They've done that with Kofi Kingston. Montez Ford was one. They don't allow that.
Do you miss oh my god moments? How do you feel about those?
I think you can bring them back. I mean, you can elaborate in so many different ways. Like I mentioned, probably the one I said, like spear someone off that's on the turnbuckle.
Yeah.
They're about to jump on you and you get a leverage and you spear them and they fall off. Both you guys. That would be something a little different. I don't think that's in there. I mean, don't give me the generic ones that have been around for a while. Spearing someone through a barricade. Or the typical one in a hell in a cell. I think there's ways they can incorporate that. Think of ones that, I don't know what they can and can't do. If it's something they can't, like some OMG moment that's never happened in the ring, if they can elaborate into the video game, or if that's got to be approved.
What about chain wrestling? Did you like
chain wrestling? So it was like the early, what wrestling game was it? There was like the
2K19.
Okay, there was like the old school one at the beginning where was it like 05? You know what I'm talking about? It was like 06 or 7, and you had an option to shake hands. It was options to shake hands, taunt. You can put your, obviously arm wrestle at the start. That was the thing. I think that should come back. That was a very crucial one. We seen it at AEW Fight Forever. I'm pretty sure they're going to get some influence from those games, from that game alone. I don't mind that. Go back and forth, and then you guys,
thumbtacks, for God's sakes, thumbtacks.
Thumbtacks. I know one was mentioned, ambulance match. I know they haven't put that in. Like,
didn't they just do a barbed wire bat on NXT as well?
Was that what it was? I know they did a dartboard.
No, not last night's NXT. I meant the pay-per-view. It was between Becky Lynch and Tiffany Stratton.
So. Yeah, I think so.
It was like a barbed wire bat pulled out, I think, from them. So,
yeah.
Which is laughable in WWE since they can't even bleed. But
I'm trying to think what else you can do. Oh, the one I mentioned, they don't do this in wrestling anymore, but putting someone in the ropes and twisting the top and the middle rope together, get your bro,
I'm all for that. That's the first time I've heard that.
What was the other ones? Handcuff. I mean, I'm surprised they don't do. I don't know how they would do this. Like, you can handcuff someone to the. You're in a tag match and you handcuff someone so they can't leave. What other idea? I just had it in my head right now. I don't know how you can incorporate this. Maybe like a blindfolded match. I don't know how you would incorporate that. You would have to maybe change.
I think that AEW Fight Forever really missed the boat on a dog collar match in a video
dog
game.
Collar.
Never had it.
Four corners match. I mean, they haven't done that in wrestling in a long time.
Championship Scramble. Strap match has been in WWE. Why can't we do a strap match?
Championship Scramble. That was very popular.
That was a fun match. This Championship Scramble was fun. I enjoyed playing that.
You can't even do. I'm surprised you can't even do tag team battle royals. They haven't included this in 2 games, and I don't think they've ever done that.
They don't have number 1 contenders matches in universe mode, James.
Yeah, that needs
which
to
is
be
weird.
Yeah, that needs to be in there.
No number 1 contenders matches. They don't have fatal 4-way tag team
3
matches.
stages of hell that needs to be brought back. I know they don't do
double
that
title
anymore.
matches. People are crying about too.
Title matches online.
Yeah,
I remember that was cool.
Online title matches, definitely. At least in a private match.
I think it was 06, 07. You would put it up there and someone would win your title and they can either trash it for some cash or keep it. That was the cool thing.
Chat's going off. Let's get to some comments real quick. Let me see here. Mike says, just give us more options in the game. 100%. Jason says, if Brian and the devs don't give us the greatest My Rise or a fantastic career mode in general, I say we throw eggs at his house. Well, that's not going to happen. Brian's a good friend of mine. I would never dog that. I would never dog the homie like that. Yeah, it's not all on Brian either. Brian's he's not the end all be all. Like, just because he's one of the devs, he doesn't make all the decisions. Everything Pro Wrestling says 2K15 had casket match in showcase mode. Yeah, but that's a little different. I meant like a legitimate casket match that you can play on like exhibition and stuff. I think the last time we've seen that is SmackDown 2. Byron Cutler says revamp Royal Rumble matches. Could use some love there.
I quit.
Everything Pro Wrestling said made us relive the reign of terror. Your favorite era, man.
God. Oh, gosh.
The right man went over at WrestleMania 19, Conrad. Jason says, imagine WWE 2K24 updating their steel cage matches to where you can use the steel cage in unique ways to harm your opponent, even suplexing off the cage. The steel cage, they did add some more stuff in 2K23. They need way more, though. The steel cage match, to me, has still felt the same since the beginning. Like, I feel like every move that is done towards the ropes or towards that cage needs to be a new cage move. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like something different. Just make that thing pure environmental because you're just trapped in the cage. It needs to be about the cage. Make that tell the story. I agree. That thing needs some love. Yeah, Mike says, use the R1 stick using dirty tactics. That too.
I would say bring back the Sabu like run. There was like certain like tactics you can do with a chair. Like if you had the chair, you can do the Van Damme, you can do the what's it called, the lion saw with the chair, the Sabu one. Yeah, that was a very popular.
So
one.
That's what I mean. They used to have grapple moves when it came to the weapons, and they had weapon finishers. That needs to come back, dude. We need more weapon love in this game. It's crazy.
Maybe, if I'm doing an STF and I got a kendo stick, choke them out with that. Just the littlest things. And maybe incorporate like the weapons with a finisher in some way. I don't know how you can do that.
Yeah.
Line them up.
Brian says being able to do diving finishers through tables. Yes, dude, 100%. That needs to be back. I can't believe that they limit us so much, even from off the ladder, like doing ladder finishers and things of that nature. Like, I can't believe any of this was removed to begin with. Like, that's wild to me. I need more freedom. I need to be able to set up a ladder from the inside of the ring, have somebody laying on the announce table, and I should be able to just dive and do my finisher, frog splash, whatever, through the table. They've had that in like every game. I don't know why we started removing that stuff. Like, the face paint damage, they had like this cool feature that lasted 1 year, took it away. The removing the straps from the singlets, it's crazy, dude. Like the coolest little detailed features are removed. Like, why are we doing that? I just don't get it. Isaiah Hill says WWE 2K24 double title matches. Yep, see, there it is. Byron Cutler says, I want to see people's entrance in Royal Rumble matches and more camera cuts in Royal Rumble matches, and size should matter in the Royal Rumble. Size always matters.
I mean, speaking of the Rumble, I mean, you could incorporate like, hey, if there's a big star in the ring, hey, 8 of you got, or what's the max? I think 8 people in the ring, 7 you go and toss one guy out. They've never incorporated that. Double eliminations, you can't do like double clothesline and take 2 guys out. It's always a single elimination aspect. Could do like that, or someone tipping someone else and you tip them both over at the same time. They've never introduced that I can think of.
I don't think so. Everything Pro Wrestling says bull rope matches. Match in my dusty voice. Bull rope match. Yeah, I can see bull rope match. Maybe I almost clicked on this next one. Chris Williams. I know that you're down there. You need to change that name. Mike says. Chris Williams. Says,
Mike H.
Remember Inferno matches. You ain't getting me this week, fool. That ain't happening. And then the other Mike says electric chair.
The good
match.
One.
Yeah, the appropriate name in the chat. Jason says, love Brian. I was teasing, but yeah, here's to a potential Myra Rice. I know you were, man. I know you didn't mean no foul harm. I'm sure Brian would have chuckled at it too. Jason says, updating the traditional matches like tables matches and steel cage with minor adjustments such as not making it too easy to get someone through a table. I don't know, man. If you're going to give me a tables match, I should be able to just get squash matches. Like, we should have squash matches in there too.
How about a simple knockout? I know that's an option, but
yeah.
It's not incorporated. I don't know how you would do this. Some maybe beating up your opponent to the point where you can get like a multiplier option. So like, some wrestlers when they get chairs, they throw about 6, 7 of them at once, or suplex someone to like 8 chairs. That's not in there. Stand up. How about setting up the chair? We've never had that in the game.
Yeah. That would be
6
great.
chairs, suplex
Making
them,
chair
from the
bridges,
top.
bridges, table bridges, all sorts of stuff, man.
Yeah,
Ladder
you could
bridges.
do a lot of things. Steel steps, light other stuff on fire. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun things that you could add to this game. I feel like they're just giving us the bare minimum every single year.
Is there? I don't know. Is there OMG moments of like weapons? Like I'm trying to remember if there is. I can't.
No.
Like recreate the Edge one with Mick Foley.
Unless you want to count like the barricade, which is not an OMG.
No, but something with like I don't know, something with the table. I don't know. The iconic one with Edge spearing Mick Foley right into the flaming table. You could incorporate that,
All great ideas, 100%. Guys, if you're watching this video right now, do me a favor, scroll down, hit that like button, smash that like button for us, and also share this podcast to somebody, man. Share our videos to somebody. Get us out there. We are not as big as the Assembles of the world or the Smack Talks of the world. Get us in that same conversation, man. I think that I pour my heart into these videos, and it takes a lot of effort with the editing and all the time to come up with the videos that I do. I really hope I'm delivering content that you guys are enjoying. If I am, I appreciate all the support, guys. Share these videos around Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever you're doing. Get us out there. Tell them to follow us. If you're going into the Symbol live chats or you're going into a Smack Talks video, say, hey, you know what? The Pro Wrestling Shoot makes some pretty good 2K videos. Go and check them out. And share the podcast as well, guys. We love the support. We also have a merch store. If you guys like some awesome wrestling merchandise, we have some cool t-shirt designs, mugs, whatever you want at our TeePublic store. It's in the description below. Click that drum link. Go and check out our TeePublic store and see all the new merch that we've just uploaded as of late. Got some cool stuff over there, man. So if you want to support that, I mean, we did just put these t-shirts up, but we have other designs that have just come out recently too. So if you like wrestling, you like to support the show, this is a great way to do it. Go and check us out and share the podcast, guys. And if you haven't already, I don't know why you're waiting. Go and support us on our social media pages. We're everywhere. We're everywhere. Right, James? James, where can they find us at?
You can follow us on Twitter, TikTok, Twitch, obviously YouTube. We're all over the place. We also have t-shirts.
What's the tag that they got to follow?
At the Pro Wrestling Shoot, bud.
Why is that, James?
Because we are the Pro Wrestling Shoot.
And branding matters, sir. Branding matters. At the Pro Wrestling Shoot everywhere. I'm Jesse Carter. He's James Pinard Jr. And we will see you at our regular time on Tuesdays at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time right here on the Pro Wrestling Shoot. Take it easy. Pro Wrestling Shoot!